back to C puzzles. We are going to jump right back in where we left off. We are going to be talking about operators, section 3, logic and increment operators. Here we'll be focusing on the exercise operators 3.1 from the C puzzle book by Alan R. Feuer. In this snippet of code, we see we have a parameterized macro named print. I will be discussing this in a bit more detail in the following slide. And last but not least, we have our main function here, which has a list of several statements that we're going to go ahead and evaluate throughout this exercise. So jumping into the preprocessor parameterized macro, which is sometimes known as a function like macro. Here we have a definition of what the parameterized macro is. We have the pound define macro or preprocessor directive define, followed by the identifier or the name of the macro, followed by a list of arguments, x sub 1, x sub 2, all the way to x sub n, white space, and then a replacement list, which consists of tokens that will go ahead and replace identifier when invoked. In this example, we have pound defined print in caps that has one argument called int, white space, and then we have a call to the printf function from the standard IO library that will take the int argument as the argument for the printf call. Now int will get replaced as the argument of the printf call whenever print the macro, the preprocessor parameterized macro, tongue twister there, gets invoked. For example here, if we were to go ahead and call print open parentheses a close parentheses, a will get treated as the int identifier, so wherever int is in the replacement list, we'll go ahead and replace it with a. So in this case, it'll be a call to the printf function with a being the argument to the print format specifier for a decimal value. Jumping into our operators 3.1, in the code we have our setup where we declare three integer values x, y, and z. In the subsequent line, we go ahead and initialize these three variables to be 2, 1, and 0 respectively for x, y, and z. And then we're going ahead and try to evaluate the line of code. X is equal to x, ampersand, ampersand, y, vertical line, z, followed by the invocation of the parameterized macro print. So in the above statement, we have three operators. We have the assignment operator, which we've seen throughout the previous videos. We have the new operator, ampersand, ampersand, which is known as the logical AND operator. And last but not least, we have the logical OR, which is the vertical and vertical operator in this statement here. So of the three operators we have, which operator / operands do we evaluate first? The one with the highest precedence. Now, if we go back to our operator precedence and associativity table, we can see if we jump down here, down to the very bottom or near the bottom, we have a logical AND, followed by logical OR, and then we have the assignment operator, followed in that sequence of order. So we can see here that the logical AND has a higher precedence than logical OR, which itself has a higher precedence than the assignment operator. So going back to our exercise, we can see that the Boolean logical AND has the highest precedence. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that operator in parentheses. We can see that the two operands are x and y, replacing x and y with their values of x being 2 from the previous initialization and y being 1. We can see that the result of the Boolean logic AND operation 2 ANDed with 1 is true or 1. Recall back that any non-zero value in the C programming language is considered to be true. Therefore, 2 ANDed with 1 gives a result of true or 1. Now this 1 becomes the left-hand side operand to the Boolean logical OR operator, which takes next precedence since it is below the logical AND. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and evaluate 1 Boolean logic Z, replacing Z with its value that we initialize 0, we get 1 ORed with 0. And the result of 1 ORing with 0 is true, the result being a 1. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and call the assignment operator that will go ahead and assign the value of 1 to the integer value of x. And last but not least, invoke the parameterized macro print with the argument being 1. And once again, 1 will get replaced, or 1 will be used as the replacement for the int identifier. So therefore, go ahead and have 1 as the argument to the printf call. And last but not least, calling the printf call, we'll go ahead and print 1 followed by the new line feed character. So running this actual exercise in the live demo here, I have already coded up the syntax of the code here, and we'll go ahead and compile my file, which I've called logic and increment operators. Here we get a little small warning noting that I did not specify the return value of main, but the compiler goes ahead and defaults it to int. So just a little small warning here, but nothing that will go ahead and affect the execution of the program. Running the executable, we can see if we click enter, the result will be 1, which is what we had concluded from our operators 3.1 deduction. Operator 3.2 would be in a following video, so go ahead and follow for the next video. Thank you very much for watching. See you then.